Lunchbox ASMR video. Today I'm going through some of the requests from my subscribers. As far as triggers go, I have 6 different triggers to go through, and I hope that you enjoy and find them very relaxing. Let's get started. First, I have this candle. I was planning on making this video, and someone commented on another video as I was preparing, and they said, you should, if you have a candle, you should open and close it if it has suction, which this candle does. And it does sound really nice. They also said tapping on the glass is something they recommended. I think it might sound better without the top, though. It's giving like a ringing noise. Yeah, that's better. I did a fast tapping video yesterday with, I don't know, like 8 or 9 triggers. And my forearm is actually tired from that still. This smells so good. The scent is Alpine Evergreen, Evergreen Balsam, and Cedarwood. What a good trigger recommendation. Thank you. Just trying to keep things interesting. Let's see how just the lid sounds. It's a little too clacky for my liking. At least with fingernails. Okay. Let's move on. Next, I have these dice. And they're in a metal cup, but the specific trigger requested by another subscriber was dice. I did look at some dice triggers because I've never seen them before. And I saw people rolling dice, which I could do, but I wasn't a huge fan of that. I really like the random little clacks that you get when you scruff them around in your hands. dice are from a board game called Heroescape. It came out in like the mid to late 90s, I think, or maybe early 2000s. It was probably early 2000s. And it's such a cool, unique game. I actually did a video talking about the little figurines that come with the game. That was a very early video on my channel. It did not do well. These dice do sound really nice. Let's see. I wonder if this is going to be too loud. I might have to lower the sound here. Or just hold it really far away from the mic. I guess maybe a metal cup wasn't the best. Spoiler alert on another trigger. I'm gonna put the dice in this silicone mold. Yeah. That sounds so good. Oh my goodness. Silicone makes all the difference in the world. I love finding weird combinations of things that sound really good. Because you get like the deep bassy sound of the silicone, but then also the tiny little clacks of the dice clanging together. And who would ever think to put dice in a silicone freezer mold? Well, to the person who recommended dice noises, thank you. But let's move on. I might as well stick with just the silicone mold. I think it was on a short that I used this in, and somebody said that they really like the sound of this. This part is squishy, but this part is rigid. It makes like a really deep, bassy noise. How nice. about the assumptions that viewers make about ASMR artists. And it was really interesting to hear how they responded, because they all apply to me. I feel like everybody gets into making ASMR because they have issues with anxiety and falling asleep. And just a lot of the things they were saying, I was like, yep, I guess I got into this for good reasons. Okay, let's move on. Next, somebody recommended water sounds, and they were not specific, so I'm going to be doing a few different ones. First, I have this spray bottle, which I will be spraying. But let's start with just straight up water noises. When people say, I've heard this before, that people like water noises and find them relaxing, and I personally don't love them, but this, like the bubbling, the bloop, 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 that was a great impression, right? The bubbling reminds me of my family and I went to this resort one time. It was like, it's a place predominantly for skiing, but they had a bunch of summer stuff, like downhill mountain biking. That was the first place I ever did downhill mountain biking, and they had like a zip line and stuff like that. So resort is not really the right word. It's like a vacation spot for families. I'm gonna swap to a different liquid noise because I have a really good one. This is simple syrup, toasted coconut flavor. As you can see, that's a nice noise. As you can see, I have not used this because I don't love the flavor of coconut in things. Like fake coconut, I like coconut. I don't like the flavor of fake coconut. This is for like cocktails or even iced coffee, I guess. But since it's simple syrup, it's thicker than water. And it makes a totally different noise when you slosh it. Anyway, we went to this vacation spot, and there was an indoor-outdoor pool, which I had never seen before. And separating the inside and the outside, obviously the water was just continuous. Maybe that's not obvious, because it wouldn't have been to me if you had just told me about an indoor-outdoor pool. Anyway, they had these plastic flaps, like covering the entrance, so if you didn't want to go underwater to get outside or inside, you could just pass through the plastic flaps and then they would flap closed when you were through them. And I very vividly remember being like one of the only groups of people in the pool, and my siblings were in the outside part, and we were playing like hide and seek or something, or Marco Polo or something like that. And I hope I'm not ruining these sounds by talking the entire time, by the way. Sorry if I am. To the person who requested liquid noises, let me know if you just want liquid noises and I will redo this for you. Same goes for all of the other people who requested things. Okay, anyway, I was the only person, I'm gonna swap. I was the only person on the inside part of the pool. I was the only person on the inside part of the pool. This is even thicker than the oil. Very nice. And I went through the flaps, and I could hear, there was like totally quiet inside. And I was all alone, and there was that like, you know, the excitement of hiding from other people during a game. And I remember hearing the driplets of water falling off of those plastic flaps into the pool. some sprays too, because I love the sound of spray, but I don't have a very good setup for it, so I'm just going to spray into the towel. Still, the mist is kind of going everywhere. Also, this is definitely not water. My wife definitely put hair product in this, and I don't really want to waste it. So that's a fail. I'm gonna stop there. Okay, next. Another person in a short requested that I bring this lunchbox back. Actually, first let me put the tag inside. I try my best to hide brand names. I really like this trigger too because you get the sound of the fabric on the outside, but since it's a lunchbox, there's that kind of like plasticky material on the inside that's an insulator and like keeps moisture, I guess, from ruining the lunchbox. That's that crackle that you hear. This trigger is pretty basic, but the next one is something that I bet you haven't seen before. My wife ordered this lunchbox for herself. And then she didn't like it. It's weirdly hard to open and close, and it's pretty small. And she likes to carry a water bottle with her, and she thought it would fit in here, but it doesn't. So she is going to return this one, but she bought another one. And the first day she had it, she brought it to work. Then the next day, we were going to like a holiday type party at a friend's house. And my wife made a barbecuterie board, which is a charcuterie board with barbecue food on it. And we got mac and cheese and pulled pork to put on it, among other things. But both of those things leaked in her brand new lunchbox. And for a couple days afterward, it smelled like pork. I felt kind of bad about that. But we got it out. Okay, enough talk about pulled pork. Let's get to the last trigger. Somebody requested Shrek trivia. So that is what we will be doing. And since I need something to do with my hands, let's use this pine cone, which is decidedly not Shrek themed. And I'm sorry about that, but I have nothing Shrek related. Actually, I do have this green ball, which is not Shrek related, but at least it's green. Okay, I searched online for Shrek trivia questions, and I purposefully chose very difficult ones. Some of them were like, what kind of being is Shrek? And that's too easy. What does Shrek compare ogres to that have layers? And that's too easy. So I got some really difficult ones. The first one's actually pretty easy, but we'll see how you do. At the beginning of Shrek 1, what does Shrek put in his drink? I'll give you a few seconds after each one to answer. honestly how many of these you get. So let me know in the comments, especially the viewer who requested these. I'm not even sure if I should say the answers. It might be more fun if I don't. Now let's say them. Eyeballs. Question 2. Why does Donkey say a relationship with Dragon might not work out in the first Shrek movie? I actually came up with this one myself. It's a funny line that I remember, so it stuck out to me. The answer is because he is an asthmatic, and it's right when the dragon blows smoke in his face. Question 3. What is the name of Lord Farquaad's executioner? I will be impressed if someone gets this. It is Thelonious. Question 4. How many babies do Donkey and Dragon have? If you said 6, you would be correct. Question 5. When the messenger from far, far away arrives at Shrek's swamp, there's a bunch of fanfare. What is the name of the trumpet player who keeps playing after everyone else stops? I feel like no one's gonna get this. His name is Reggie. Question 6. Fairy Godmother has a chauffeur whose name is written on his sweater. What is his name? Again, if you get this, you are a Shrek master. His name is Kyle. Question 7. When Shrek gets hit with a poison arrow, what type of flower does Donkey need to find? Don't mess this up like Donkey almost did. The answer is blue with red thorns. Question 8. Where do Shrek and Fiona stay during their honeymoon? I'm pretty sure this is just on a sign at the place. So, again, if you get this, kudos. The answer is Hansel's honeymoon hideaway. I guess Hansel, since it's Hansel and Gretel. Unless you say Hansel and Gretel, which I think is actually how you pronounce it. Question 9. What is the name of the inn where we first meet Puss in Boots? It is the Poison Apple. And question 10, last question. Who does Donkey say he doesn't want to work for? The answer is Old MacDonald. Those are all of the triggers that I have that my subscribers requested. Do you have something that you want to see? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to see you